Welcome back to Star Wars Shovelware, my name's Luke, and today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at an entertaining little puzzle game called Pocket Slimes, in which with as few moves as possible you must paint the play area with your slime, though doing so is a little more challenging than it looks, thanks to each stage's unique gameplay mechanics. So let's take a look at this simple but tricky puzzler, and don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel and stay up to date with all my latest content. So we're going to be skipping the storyline with this one since it doesn't actually have one, and the game is really just focused around the gameplay and puzzle solving. Now there are 3 game modes available in Pocket Slimes, and the main single player game mode is Campaign mode, which consists of 3 different worlds, each containing around 30 or so levels for you to master. To start with though, you begin in the prehistoric world with a set of 7 levels designed to show you the ropes and teach you the game's basic puzzle mechanics, and these are actually very simple mechanics, requiring you to paint the surface of the play area using your cube, or slime as it's known in the game, with your movement being limited to vertical or horizontal directions. The objective here though is to complete each level in as few moves as possible, and the fewer moves you use, the more stars you earn for a level. Now in order to successfully complete a level you must earn at least 1 star, which will then unlock the next level, but there is incentive to earn as many stars as possible, as these will unlock new types of cubes for you to use, though the differences between them is purely aesthetic. It's worth noting that you can also earn diamonds in levels by completing them in the most efficient way possible, with these diamonds also unlocking some unique slime skins, though I found earning these diamonds to be incredibly difficult, requiring a lot of trial and error and repeat playthroughs of levels. Now after completing the tutorial levels you then get into the main prehistoric level set, where things become progressively more difficult, and it's not long before you encounter your first unique level mechanic in the form of bridges which collapse after a single movement over them. This adds an additional layer of challenge to levels, as you'll often find that after passing over and collapsing certain bridges you'll no longer have access to sections of levels, and so it really becomes necessary to forward plan to avoid these situations. Now while this is relatively easy in the early game and also towards the mid game to some degree, when you get into the levels towards the latter half of the world they become so large that forward planning becomes near impossible, and I would say that this became my main bugbear with Pocket Slimes. I'm usually pretty strong when it comes to puzzle games, especially maze-like ones where you have to envisage your movements through a level, but even I really struggled here, and I often had to resort to trial and error and brute force tactics, sometimes even just to hit 1 star on a level, and it really seemed to me like the developer has struggled a little with balancing the actual scale of levels alongside giving them unique solutions when it comes to progressing the game's difficulty. Now the core gameplay mechanic remains the same throughout campaign mode, however each of the 3 biomes introduces a couple of unique mechanics for you to contend with, which keeps things interesting. The collapsing platforms are combined with things like blocks which raise and lower every few moves you make, and ramps which allow you to jump certain sections of levels, but my favourite mechanic came in the final biome, where sections of levels would move apart after a certain number of movements, and to me it was really these levels which felt the most thought out and structured. When it comes to the game's overall difficulty, it's not the most challenging and you should be able to earn at least 1 star after a couple of attempts at a level, but things do get a lot more tricky when you have multiple mechanics to contend with, and achieving higher star ratings and diamonds in these levels offers a significant challenge. Now if you're just looking at completing the game as fast as possible and are not really bothered about the star ratings, I'd say that Pocket Slimes campaign mode will take you around 2 to 3 hours to complete, which I think is a reasonable amount of time for a puzzle game like this. Of course mastering every one of the game's levels will take significantly longer, but after this you also have quick mode to dive into, which not only contains several sets of challenge levels for you to work through, again with the aim being to use as fewer moves as possible, but you can also create sets of custom challenge levels, which doesn't allow you to actually design the levels for yourself, but I'm led to believe that it randomly generates them for you, so in essence the game offers unlimited replayability. Now if you're looking for a bit of competitive play, there's also 2-player local versus mode, and this offers 2 different rule sets, scoring players either by the number of moves they make or by the speed in which they complete levels. Unfortunately though, there is no online multiplayer, and I really think that this, alongside some kind of online leaderboards, would really add to the game's replayability. Now, when all's said and done, I had a fun time playing this one, but I'm not gonna lie, I did end up getting pretty frustrated in some of the larger levels, mainly because I couldn't just rely on my problem solving skills to complete them. Having said this, brute forcing them didn't take all that long, and at most I probably spent around 10 minutes on a level, so I was able to progress through the game at a relatively steady pace. Overall, I'd say that Pocket Slimes probably fits best as a time filler game to be played whenever you get a spare 10 minutes or so, rather than in a single sitting like I did. And while I would say that I felt a little more focus could have been put into giving each level a more structured solution, the game is enjoyable enough, though I do think that its asking price may still be a little on the high side for some people. So when it comes to the visuals and audio in Pocket Slimes, things are kept pretty simple, especially when it comes to the sound effects which have undoubtedly been used in other games. The game's pixel art is pretty decent, with some nice detail into the biomes, and I especially enjoyed the variety of slimes on offer, though their appearance on the main menu did creep me out a little. On the music side of things, I have to admit that I actually ended up muting the game about 5 minutes after starting it, simply because each level featured the same 20-second audio loop which repeated over and over, and it quickly began to drive me insane. So as you might expect, the game's performance on the Switch is decent. The visuals don't really put a strain on the console, though for some reason the game would on occasion freeze up for a few seconds, though I've no idea of what actually caused this to happen. Issues wise, I've already mentioned my main gripe, that being its overly large levels, but aside from this, I would say that there could have been a little more creativeness put into its unique level mechanics, as I feel that these were very simple, and I have seen similar mechanics in other puzzle games. Overall though, Pocket Slimes is an enjoyable enough puzzle game, and the dev has done a decent job with this one. And when it comes to my own personal rating of the game, I'm going to be giving Pocket Slimes 3 out of 5 stars. If you're looking for a new time filler game to play and are a fan of puzzle games which keep things simple but still offer a decent level of challenge, then Pocket Slimes should serve you nicely. And so that about does it for this review of Pocket Slimes on the Nintendo Switch. As always, tickle that like button to show your appreciation. Let me know what you thought of the game and what your favourite time filler games are in the comment section below. And if you've not yet subscribed, then become a legend and do so. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.